But your nails always look awesome. And I did put on acrylic nails, but I hated them. The color straight looked great on them. I couldn't do it. Maybe
I do coffin shape.
Uh-huh.
And then I ask for a top coat, and because I have the top coat, it makes it super smooth. And so then when I put my nail polish strip on, it's like,
yeah,
it's like really.
I get acrylic, but I don't get a top coat on it. Maybe I should, but then I change my nails so often, that it's kind of not worth it.
Yeah, I just wanted the top coat because I knew it would be like a super smooth, It's kind of ironic, you guys, because I never got my nails done before Color Street, but now that I do Color Street, I want my nails to really stand out. So I get them done and then I put Color Street over it. It's ironic, but it works.
I always got my nails done. So my nail girl, who used to always do nail art on me, and then I couldn't afford it anymore. She laughs at it.
I know, I'm always like, can you make it really plain? Just make it clear and plain. And they're like, you can tell they're kind of like disappointed. Yeah.
I've actually, the last time I did my Color Street nails inside the shop, because Michael was getting his nails done. And I've known them for like over a decade.
Yeah. They're cool with it.
Yeah.
This is the next color I'm wearing. I'm gonna do the bright banana yellow.
Ooh.
I love that one.
What's that shape that it's in? What's that plastic thing?
I don't know. Is Kathy Gibson on? I had an emergency call and I was like, Kathy, I need the yellow and I don't have them, and I'm leaving in 2 days for Hawaii.
Oh my God. I miss home.
I really like that. Look at what she put them in. She put them in like a little clear mailer and put.
Oh, I didn't notice that.
They're like, here, look. It's this. It's
okay.
Interesting.
It's so cute. I love extra packaging.
And then she has that. That's cute, huh? Fun. Hey, Polly, good job today. That was awesome. Everyone's super excited to try it now.
I hope that it helps.
You know what? I canceled my cinch share. I'm like, I don't need that if I can save my post.
Yeah. Is Laura on? Because Laura said the social media thing. Oh yeah, there I see your.
So my phone's at 1%, but it's plugged in. So we'll see.
Do you have lightning showing you it's charging?
Which is faster, the Zoom drain or the charger?
Maybe my licorice off the counter.
I use it
for me.
Uh-oh, she gone.
She gone. This is funny. It's like the Brady Bunch. I'm like looking around now.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, Joan, are you ready?
I am.
Okay. Joan is ready. Her printer is fixed. So
oh my gosh. Hey there.
Speaker view.
Well,
I'm gonna turn it. You guys, I heard Joan speak to the senior directors of and above, and I was like frantically taking notes the whole time. I'm like, this is so good. And so I messaged her. I'm like, Joan, that was amazing. And then I got to meet her last week, and she's just an awesome human. And so asked her if she'd speak to my leaders and share kind of what she shared. So I'm going to let you introduce yourself, Joan, and just take it away.
Okay. Well, gosh. First off, I have to tell you guys.
Hang on 1 second. I got to mute everyone, and then I'm going to unmute you.
Okay, you got it.
Okay, go ahead, Joan.
Okay, so let's see here. All right. So first off, I just want to say thank you, Kelly, so much for having me. You guys already know you have an incredible leader, and I just have so enjoyed spending a little bit of time with her and really admire how she's built her team and how many of you, I see Lindsay, and probably I'm sure there's a couple others of you that were there this weekend. So super cool weekend, and thanks for having me tonight. I'm halfway laughing a little bit because of all days, the day before the end of the month, I've never had a problem with my Mac, and I was 3 hours on the phone today with Apple.
Oh,
so
no.
like, ah!
You're like, you can't do this on January 30th.
I felt this close to going, I'm just going to buy a new one. Not a big deal. I'm out. Oh, I was freaking out for a minute. So
Oh, no.
anyway, so the reason why I couldn't get my printer is because it was offline. So here we go. Okay.
Okay.
So Kelly had asked me to share around some of the coaching techniques that I do. And I will let you ladies know, I have been in direct sales for quite a while. I started back in 2001, and I've worked with, several direct selling companies as a consultant, and I've been in the field. This will be my third, building process in the field with direct selling. And I think what I love about it the most is working with the people. So when we talk about really working with the people, I know that for a long time, there were a lot of things that I didn't do, correctly, but you don't know what you don't know. And so along the way, I ended up taking, a coaching course, and then I took the next coaching course, and then I took the next one. So I feel pretty good now about the way that I work with people, and what I'd like to do today is really share some of those tips with you. So I can see some of you already have a pen and paper, and I'll let you know when there's a really good note to take, but I'll also be happy to share this outline with Kelly, and you all can do whatever you want with it. Take what you want and throw away the rest. Okay. So here's what I'd say. First off, there's a couple questions to think about when we think about coaching. And what we're going to specifically talk about today is really setting your stylist up for success. So I'm going to cover 3 things that I do and that I train my people to do so that all the rest of it really falls into place. And this really has to do, I think, with the most important thing, which is their foundation right when they get into the business. So before I go right into the coaching, I want to talk about the number 1 characteristic of a network marketer, a direct seller, whatever you want to call all of us. And I believe that that is urgency. What you're going to notice is the top earners or the most successful people in a company have this characteristic. They are urgent. They do it now. They don't wait and do it tomorrow. They don't wait and do it next week. If they've got to make a call, they pick up the phone and they make it now. They find ways to make urgent action happen. And one of the most, I would just say one of the best tips I can give you is to be urgent with your new stylist. So remember, I'm going to kind of paint a picture. They've just now said yes to you. And I'm going to tell you what happens with a lot of people. They're like, yes, it's my first stylist. Or yes, I've got another member on the team. And 24 hours go by, maybe 48 hours. Now we're looking at 2-3 days. And we haven't really done anything with them. In fact, some of us are even waiting for the kit to get here before we have our first conversation. And I'm going to just say that if that's any of us, that's not good. Because after 2, 3, 4 days, that woman is probably scared straight, wondering, why did I even do this? So I just want to really kind of drive home how important those first 24 to 48 hours are to your stylist's success. So have you ever felt a little bit uncomfortable maybe to ask for somebody's goals, or ever wondered kind of like, what is really driving her? I know she really loved the nails, but I wonder what it really is that she wants to accomplish. Or maybe you're in that place where you've got somebody and they're hard to reach. You can't pin them down. And I don't know about you, but the chasing game is probably one of the biggest time wasters that we can all, have on our plates. So the first thing that we're going to do is we have 3 steps. So the first step really is you have to know her why. So go ahead and write that down. You have to know her why. And you all may already have some training on that, but I'm going to just take a little bit of a deeper dive into that, because that's the first thing right out of the gates. Now, we don't sit down like she signed up and then you just look at her and I'm going to go, hey, Lindsay, what's your why? She's brand new to maybe anything like this, and she's probably going to go like, my why? Well, you might give an answer like I did when somebody asked me almost 20 years ago, well, what's your why? I was like, I don't know. I just want to eat Chinese food whenever I want, and I want to make like an extra $500. And the gal kind of looked at me like, Chinese food whenever you want. It's like, that's kind of a Robison thing, right? Or my name was Nielsen. It's kind of a Nielsen thing. We just love Chinese food. So if you guys know some good spots in your area, let me know. Anyway, so I didn't really have a clue even what that meant when she said, what's your why? So I want to give you some ideas around that, about how you can really start uncovering that with her, and really help her to be anchored into the business. So I want you to think about why you're here first. And some of you may not have developed your own why, or maybe it's not strong enough. Some of you on the call might be thinking, well, gosh, I just joined because I love the nails. And that initially is what draws people in. We all know that, right? They love the polish. Maybe others saw the vision of what this could be because there was no other company like this in the direct selling channel. Maybe we got attracted to the vibe of the tribe. Who knows what it was, but something more has to anchor her personally in. And it has to be something that stirs and inspires her emotion. So write that down. Stirs and inspires her emotion. I want you to think about it right now. If you were and some of you right now probably work another full-time job, and I want to ask you, are there ever days where you don't want to do something at that job? No one's smiling at me. Come on, let's get real. Yeah, sometimes you don't even want to get up, and you and I both know that's true, right? We don't even want to leave. And if we didn't have to pay our mortgage, or we didn't have to pay for our kids' dancing or football or college, we might not. But the point is, a business like this, nobody is going to make you do anything. Okay? We as leaders have to inspire them to do more of what they want to do. It's got to be all about them, not my goals. I mean, I'm going to go where I'm going to go, but what I have to do is attract enough people through getting to know them and uncovering more of what they want. And when I can do that, I begin building leaders. Okay, I begin building my tribe. I begin building that person, and hopefully drawing out more from them what they really truly are created to be. And sometimes finding that why takes a little bit of time. It doesn't always happen on that first moment because you probably don't know them that well yet. But that's where you're going to start. So I want to give you just a few questions that you can ask without just actually asking, what is your why? So one of the first things that you can do is you could just say something like, Lindsay, I'm using you, just so you know. You might say something like, Lindsay, tell me what made you say yes to Color Street. You know, what was it that attracted you at our Facebook party or whatever you do? Maybe it's a, in-home deal. Whatever it is, what is it that got you to say yes? Okay. You could also ask, how do you see this business impacting you and your family? How do you see this business impacting you or your family? Okay, I like to also get into things like, gosh, if I was to give you a pad and a pen, what would you like to accomplish? What would you like to accomplish? Or maybe it's just something like, what do you want more of in life? Okay, so notice all those questions. When you wrote them down, I bet you felt something. It probably stirred some emotion in there. I see Julie's shaking her head. Yeah, that's right. Okay, that's the whole goal, right? So the why is emotional. Okay. Sometimes people have, or they think their why is, well, I've got to pay my credit card debt down. That is not emotional. It's just not, because when the credit cards are paid off, why are you going to stay in the game? Because they will be paid off. Ask Kelly, right? They got paid off. Some of us are still working on a few of them, like me. No. But the truth is, things will be paid off. And then we have to know what's still going to keep you in the game, because you're going to have those days just that go like this in Color Street, because life's in session, right? Life's still happening, even though we got this great, amazing product and company. And we might have experiences within this that make us go, you know what, I don't know. But remember, like, unlike the original workplace, you got to go because you're committed to your company or your boss, and they're checking your time or whatever. Here, they're not. So that's really the why. Are you guys with me on that?
Yes.
You picking up what I'm putting down? Okay, good. All right. So let's move a little bit toward the next. Well, actually, let me tell you this. This is a good thing. I always think about this. So people buy 7 times more on emotions than they do on what? Logic. Okay? 7 times more on emotions than they do on logic. And we all know this product is emotional, and it's kind of, you don't have to think much about it, right? It's like, it's fingernail polish. Okay, I'll take 3, 4, whatever you do. You know? It is an emotional. Well, the reason why we start that meeting with them after we connect, with going and talking a little bit more about the why, is because we want to bring them back to that emotion that they had the night before. So to kind of connect everything, can you see where I'm going when I said that if you wait 2, 3, 4, 5 days, what are they going to be in? Probably a lot of fear, or they're going to be uncomfortable because they've never done this. And then they're wondering a lot of times why. And some of you, it might be you. I mean, I haven't set every person I've ever set up correctly. So if you're thinking like, oh, geez, I don't do this. So what? It's about today going forward. Okay? So don't beat yourself up. You get to from today going forward. All right. So let's go to my suggestion. There is a book called Start With Why. Simon Sinek is the author, and I love that. It's a really amazing book. Kelly, you like him too, right?
Yeah.
I think you had a quote with him, and it just really breaks it down. There's also a course, but it's a lot. But at any rate, it really could help you and your team members discover more of why they're doing something. So check it out. The one thing I know is when you're crystal clear, you can help other people get crystal clear. So get clear yourself, and then you'll be able to help other people get clear. Okay, let's go to number 2. So number 2 is how many nail bars, Facebook parties, one-on-ones, whatever their means. Maybe they, saw you in a Facebook party. So maybe it's going to be, how many Facebook parties do you want to hold on a weekly basis? How many Facebook parties do you want to hold on a weekly basis? Now, you could put in the chat box, like this question I'm going to ask you. You could put the answer. Why do you think I would ask weekly? Anybody know? Why would I ask weekly? Anyone? Okay, I'm going to tell you. So, yeah, more specific is good.
Broken down into smaller segments, easier to chunk to comprehend.
Yep, all of that, easier to chunk to comprehend, smaller segments. They're just starting, so a little bit at a time. I always give people 3 things to do. That was probably one of the best tips somebody gave me along the way that I stole out, and I only train in 3s, just like today, 3s. But the thing is that the main number 1 reason why I ask for people, you know, what they're willing to do on a weekly basis is to create consistency, because that means that they're going to know that the success plan from the company down starts with at least one activity a week, right? One event a week, whatever it is. Now, some people are going to do 2 and 3. Some of you work a 40-hour week and you're like, wow, if I had 40 hours to work on Color Street, imagine what I do. You can get there. Keep working consistently and you'll be amazed at what happens. I know that in this business, there's only really 2 things that we have to do. We have to sell and we have to sponsor. And if we have to do those things, we have to do those consistently in order to grow a business. Okay, 1/3 are coming, 1/3 are going, and 1/3 are staying. So we have to create that consistency in order to build, if that's what we're doing. And I'm just going to assume all of you are here because you're leaders. So consistency, I can't say that enough. So the next part of that question is, you could also say something, you know, let me back up. A lot of people will say, well, how much time do you want to invest? And I say that sometimes too, if they don't know how many they're willing to do. I'll say, well, then let's talk about the time. But here's what I want to caution you about when we ask the word time. See, time is just time. All right. It's just going to be, we all have 24 hours. I might work, 4 hours one day, 12 the next. But as long as I get the action done that I need to do, it really doesn't matter the time. So I ask the question in action, right? How many of the activities, Facebook parties, nail bars, whatever it is, how many are you willing to do? How many do you want to do? Okay. That's really key. Because if you say, how many hours do you want to invest? And they say, let's just say, 5 to 10, and then they end up working, let's just say 10. And then you say, let's talk a little bit about what you did last week. What if they said, well, I made a lead list. I organized my office. I got all the, they're not doing what we call the IPAs, the income producing activities, not the beer. All right. Not the beer. Somebody goes, Joan, you have them drink IPAs? I was like, what? No. So I want you to think about it like that, right? Think in terms of activity, because we can't manage time really. Yeah, IPA. I like it. Ooh, interactive. Okay. So listen to what they say and write it down. I always take notes wherever I go, and I always take notes on my people because I can't remember everybody. I'm sure you guys can't either. I mean, I try, but I don't always remember what somebody's, willingness to, work however many events per week. So I write it down. Okay. And then they see me write it down. Do you do that, Kelly?
I write it. I make a Google document just with I have a folder of new stylists in January, new stylists in February, March, April. And so then each new stylist in January gets a new document. But Polly just did a training for us about Airtable, so you could also do that as well. So, but I totally agree. You have to write it down because it's hard to remember details about everyone. And then it's really nice when you're trying to figure out, who to place them with or whatever. You can remember their goals, their why, things about them, and connect them with a good mentor that you think will fit. Yeah,
for sure. And the other thing too that I think happens a lot of times, I know people do, I do many things on the computer too, but something happens with the pen to the pad. Something, and you can make little squiggles and different things like that. But at any rate, the bottom line is just get down what they're saying so that you don't forget. And like Kelly said, you can refer back to it. You're going to know somebody that's consistent simply in our back office by their numbers. Okay. The numbers don't lie. They never do. They tell all, and we can determine a lot just by looking at our people's numbers. I'm going to leave you with one other thing on this score. When we ask these questions, like how much time are you or I'm sorry, how many Facebook parties or nail bars, whatever. When we ask these questions and they give us the answer, people don't argue with their own information or their own commitments or their own data. So just remember that. When I'm telling you, you might go, well, I don't want to do that. But if I ask you what you want, then that's your information. Then I have it and I can always refer back, and then I never feel uncomfortable to talk to you about it. Okay.
So do they ever say like, oh, I don't know, or like, one seems like one seems like a lot, or I don't know. Do you ever like sort of suggest stuff, or are you just kind of taking it down?
Yeah. So the next thing that actually I have on my list is I use words like here, like I'll say, hey, Lindsay, let me show you what the most successful stylists do. Okay. Those words are really powerful. Let me show you what the most successful stylists do, or just here's what the most successful stylists do. Here's what the top earners do. Notice the word do. Okay. And what I find with this type of thing is that this way I'm showing them the success plan. And quite frankly, that is our job. Our job is to show them how to be successful. In fact, these are the 3 steps, or the 3 first steps to success. So the company has a success plan in this like roadmap right in here. And I believe it starts with the launch party and then 4 or 5 other parties. I've worked in party plan before, and the company that I worked at for 12 years, it was, you had to book 6 events before you could even turn in to get the kit. So there's all different kinds of ways to do it. But the bottom line, and we all know this on this call, is if people aren't doing activity of what? Selling and sponsoring, they're not making money, which is going to lead me to right into really number 3, which is how much money do you want to make each week? Okay. And there are times, to answer Kelly's question, where people don't know. And then I have to, if they say like, gosh, I'm not sure what I'm willing to really commit to, I'll say, well, let's talk about, some of the different things that you want from this business, and we also, you guys all know, how much time does it take to manage, 2 or 3 Facebook parties a week? You're going to be able to say, from my experience, this is what I know. And then you're going to share with them what success looks like. Okay. And then after, you could say, so does that help you? Are you a little more clear now on what you'd be willing to commit to? Okay. So let's go into the next piece, which is how much money do you want to make? Now, I realize not every person joins a company like this to make money. Okay. But I will tell you, and I've done a lot of research, it is the most popular reason, just so you know. So even though most don't, even though it's not the only reason, it is the most frequent, that is the reason why most people join, is to make a little more or a lot of money. Okay. So the reason why I ask how much money is not because, money, like, oh, I'm all about the money. It's because of what the money can do for their life. Okay. And notice the first question is all on emotion. The second question is on doing, right? It's a lot more on the doing. And the third question, how much money? And then we start talking about all the different things they could do, is back to emotion. So I kind of do that in a sort of science way. I want to make sure when I deliver these 3 questions of the way they're going to feel. Okay. So I think a lot about that when I'm writing a training or doing my new stylist checklist, because I want to make sure that they are certainly ending a time with me on that up emotion. Like, okay, I'm ready to go. So, why do you think I ask how much money on a weekly basis do you want to make? Who might know?
So you can break it down, like the parties. They talked about their parties, right?
That's right. I mean, there's a couple different reasons. So you can easily break down how much the average party is. Okay. So I'm not sure Kelly, what do you guys use for your average party?
So,
you guys do kind of a little bit of an average party, or?
We have like our 6 for Success, where we recommend they do 6 parties a month.
Okay.
And we say if they average, like, I think it was, if they average 150, then they'll make this much. And I have a graphic, but I can't remember it off the top of my head. And then if they average 300, they'll make like 500 a month.
Yeah. Okay, good. So that is exactly really how I do it. The only little tweak is I just assume, and this is just the way I do it, I just assume they're going to do a $300 party. So I'll just say it like this. I'll go, okay, hey, Linz, let's just take 300 as an average party. Some people are going to do a little more, or, some of your parties are going to be a little more and some might be a little less, but let's just take 300. Okay. And the reason, gang, why I do 300 is because what? Bonus qualifying is 300. Okay. The other thing is I already know how much do you make when you do a $300 nail bar or Facebook party? 300, right? I'm sorry, 75 on 300.
Right. Yeah.
Laura, I saw you laughing at me down there. But yeah, I wish I made 300 on 300.
Right.
We make 75. So then I can easily go, oh, okay. And at 6 parties, guess what? I can pull out my comp plan and 300 times 6 is 1,800. So you can look right where they would be in that enhanced retail, right? I just keep these numbers kind of like right here because I've said it so many times. But you pick your number, but go air, if you will, on a little bit higher. Remember this, people rise to the occasion. Cream rises to the top. Don't be afraid. Don't say something like, well, you only need to do 150. No, just say, on average, the average party's about 300, give or take a little here or there. Okay, because guess what's in their head? I got to do 300. Yeah, that's what I want them to think. I want them to make money, which is going to lead me to my next bullet. People don't quit a direct selling business or any business when they're making money. Okay. Yeah. So when you go like this and something happens in your life, and you know what, my son's being a turd and there's a lot of yelling. Oh, look at that little guy. Hi, little pumpkin. And there's a lot going on in the household, and I'm about ready to like go, why am I doing 2 jobs? Okay. Oh my gosh, I made $2,000 last month. Whoop, now I'm coming back up all of a sudden, right? Or, right. You know what? Because I'm so committed to, Johnny's whatever extracurricular sporting activity that costs $1,000 a month, that, I'm going to keep going and I'm going to push through this. So we have to tie things back to money, but the things that money can do for the stylist. It's so important. So I know that you all get it. Money's not the emotion. It's the things that money can do that will move people, right? Okay. So let me just do a quick recap on what we talked about. So we talked about the why and how to ask those questions. We also talked a little bit about how to tie activity to, a weekly consistent, to being consistent weekly. And then we talked about finding out really consistently how much they want to make. And one thing that I didn't bring up, it's not on my notes either, but we also get paid here at Color Street on a weekly basis. So another question that you could say is, how much do you want to get paid every week? Because here at Color Street, we get paid every Thursday, direct deposit right into your bank account. And I shake my head, yes. Right? Yeah. Okay. So let me just say a few things that I really believe will help you. When you're doing a coaching call, effective coaching, it's all around asking questions to uncover more of what they want. Sometimes I have people that say, Joan, I don't want to ask for their goals because I feel pushy. And I say, let's talk about how often you've been talking with them, or, you know, interacting in some way, shape, or form in the partnership of you and them. Because you all know that if I don't talk to somebody for the whole month, and then at the end of the month, all of a sudden I'm like, oh, I need them to BQ. You guys know what I'm thinking right now. It feels kind of uncomfortable. Like, I don't really want to call her either. But let's get deeper into it. Why is it? It's because I'm not in relationship with her. I haven't invested my time with her. So if somebody ever tells you, I don't want to feel pushy, or I don't want to feel uncomfortable, you got to know, you got to go to the root of that. And the root of that is they're not in relationship. So then the next question has to be, what do you want to do to change that? And if it's somebody that clearly is either telling you or showing you that this really isn't for them, or they're just going to do a little bit here and there, they're not somebody that's going to build a business, that's okay. We need them too. We need everybody. And they may change their mind down the road after they're watching your example and all the other people having fun, making money, all on these little nail strips. So just keep in mind that it's very, very powerful for you to ask questions and get the information from them. So write these things down. Questions always begin with who, what, where, when, and how. Some of you might be going, well, why not why? Well, because why can come across a little bit funny. Like, why didn't you clean your room? Versus, you know, how long is it going to take for you to clean your room? Then we're going to head to the movies. Or, well, that didn't really go, but you guys get where I'm going with that. Why didn't you clean your room? Versus, you know, how long will it take you to finish up on your room? Two totally different vibes coming out there, different energies. Okay. So, and also with a new stylist setup, one of the things that I didn't explain, I haven't explained this on a coaching call, but I will explain this, is I always let people know, here's what you can count on from me. And that's when I tell them how I operate. You know, I'm a person that I'm going to set an appointment with you, and, you know, I'm going to be here to support you. You know, your job isn't to, the success of someone else is not on your shoulders, but the setup is. Okay? That's our job. My job is to set someone up for success, not their success. And the only way that I know how to do that effectively is by having a really good, clear communication. And what you'll notice is the people that are most effective at building relationships will always rise to the top in a business, period. I don't care if it's direct sales. I don't care if you worked at Nordstrom. I don't care if you work at Safeway. If you're an accountant, it doesn't matter, because people want to be in relationships. And now, even though social media and all the different things, you know, are keeping us sometimes from spending quality time with people, now more than ever, people are craving relationships because they're isolated in many cases. And it does get lonely sometimes behind the scenes. Well, unless you have 4 or 5 kids, but you guys know what I'm talking about, right?
Totally.
Okay, so I'm going to just wrap up by saying, if it were me, I would look at a couple things on my notes that I learned, and I would not only maybe implement these in my own business, but I would train your people to do some of these things. Because what you will find is if you could get your teams doing just these 3 things, you'll be wildly amazed at how different the feeling will be with them you know, setting someone up for success. Okay.
Yes.
Any questions?
I
or any?
love it.
All right.
I have a couple questions for you, and then if you guys have questions, write them in the chat bar below. But so mine is, I thought I remember you mentioning, so you do this initial call. Do you usually do it within like 24 hours of them signing up?
So, yeah. So what I typically do is if I'm on the phone with somebody, and by the way, when someone says to me, I want to sign up, like it's right now. I don't like go, okay, well, I can get together next Tuesday. No, remember, urgent. So I'm like, okay, great. And it's either we're going to do it on the phone because they just said yes. We're going to do it on Zoom because they just said yes. Or if I'm in person and they said yes, I do not send them home to go do it themselves. Never, ever, ever. Because then what am I doing? Wasting headspace wondering, are they going to sign up? When are they going to sign up? Is it before dinner? After dinner? After ice cream? Oh, no, they didn't sign up. You know how it goes. So I do this. I get them into action immediately. If they're in action, what happens? Way less fear will come into play.
They're not going to second guess themselves.
No, because if you can get them even, you know, right away, let's start thinking about, you know, why you're doing the business. Let's, you know, start thinking about who it is that you're going to invite to your 6 for Success. You know, who are those hosts going to be? Get them into action on a few things prior to leaving. And then typically I right away, then in the next 24 to 48, every time I give them 3 more things and 3 more things. I have them come back to me. How did that go? Yeah.
So when you get them on the phone and you talk to them, do you do a follow-up call like 2 weeks later, 1 week later? I think I remembered you saying you set up a follow-up call on that first call for like a week later. Isn't that what you're saying?
Yeah. Well, okay. So there's a little bit of difference. Like if it's a brand new stylist, I probably talk to them pretty frequently. You know, like I tell them, listen, you can text me anytime you want and I'll get back to you in a reasonable amount of time. And it's usually at some point that day. If it's an emergency, you write 911. But most people understand that we have a little bit going on, or some of you work other jobs. But when it's just a coaching call, like if I'm just doing a coaching call with an existing stylist that's already been in the business a while, maybe they're learning a new skill, they were stuck with sponsoring, so we had a little coaching call around sponsoring, then I always set an appointment from that call to the next, and usually there's a week in between. But a new stylist I hold a little bit closer to me because they're just learning those steps.
Okay. And you said you give them, so you just give them 3 assignments and then do you follow up with them, or do you wait for them to follow you up with you after they do the 3?
Yeah. Typically what I'll do is and again, what I want to give you guys, this is really funny because my sister-in-law, who was one of the first people to ever join my team, literally I said, okay, Sarah, you need to book 6. This is way back in the day. And she was like, oh, okay, book 6. Okay, I got to go. Bye. So she hangs up, and then literally at about 20 minutes, she goes, okay, I got my 6. I was like, what? Who does that? So, you know,
Awesome.
Yeah, I was like, whoa, that never happened again, just so you guys know. But anyway, you know, most of the time I give them, you know, little tidbits, but sometimes you can see a smart study, or someone will go, I already did create a lead list. I'm like, oh.
Right.
Then I might give them a few more. But if I have somebody that's in real fear, you know, a lot of people they're kind of like tentative.
Yeah.
I just give 3. Because, you know, if you say like, here's the 8 things to do, here's the major packet, you know, we'll talk next week. Most people are like, their eyes start rolling back in their head a little bit.
True. Lindsay asked, do you do this same thing with all the new stylists on your team, or only the stylists you in?
I'm not really laughing at you, but no, I could never do it with all of them.
Right. I agree.
But it's a good question, because what I do is I train my leaders to do what I do. And I will tell them, you can get on any phone call I do, you know, and I do the Zoom training. So I would do this and then record it, and then I throw it, you know, so they can rewatch it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
If all your people are doing this, then everyone's getting started right.
Yeah. Now the next question you guys should be saying, Joan, do all your people do this? No, they don't.
You wish, right? We all wish.
Yeah, I wish. But a lot of them do. And then there's a lot that, of course, you know, they might tweak it themselves a little bit, and then they find maybe their way that it works.
Yeah, I do think it's super important to get your new stylist on the phone to like get to know them, find out their goals, and just connect with them and get a little bit of a commitment too. Like my first 6 months I didn't do that, and then I started doing it, and I feel like it really, really helped. So
yeah. Well, and I think in our company, I know that it's taken me a minute, you know, with a startup company, there's just a lot of things that can come up. And in the first 6 months, I didn't do it exactly this way with each person either. You know, it took me a minute to get my own like checklist, and then I just have them and go through the checklist together. But really, typically, it's probably about 2 to 3 phone calls with that. And sometimes I put 2 people or 3 people on a call together. Mm-hmm. And then, you know, oftentimes I always though make an appointment from that call, because I am not about the chasing. So you can avoid any chasing by, before you hang up, setting the next time that you talk.
I love that.
And one other thing I do when I hang up, I always say, is there anything else I can do for you? Because that way my head it rests on the pillow with a clear conscience or a good feeling, knowing, you know, every person that I talked to today, I left with them saying, I'm good for today, or whatever it is, right?
Yep, I like that. So good, Joan. So good. Right. I'm excited I actually have a call with the new stylist right now, so I need to go. But I'm excited for everyone to try this. I really think it will help to really connect with their emotions. And I love the specific questions about like how many, you know, you want to do, and just kind of painting a picture of what this business could do for them. And so, and then reconnecting again, setting up that appointment again. So thanks so much, Joan. This was super helpful. And I loved everything you said. Took so many notes. So I appreciate you hopping on, and everyone else for joining us. Have a good night, you guys, and share this with your teams to do the same. Bye.
Thanks so much. Bye-bye.